Mr. President, Excellencies, it is my pleasure and honor to join this session and to share my thoughts with the Council. Oftentimes, decisions, norms, ideas, and policies at the multilateral level filter to the national level and consequently influence decision-making. Beyond the policy level, direct exposure to institutional norms predispose actors to behave in ways that demonstrate a certain level of learning and eventual application. Peacekeeping missions are expected to be the embodiment of, among other things, the application of international norms of human rights. Thus, peacekeepers are trained and oriented to uphold such principles while in the theater of ever more complex operations. To attain these lofty goals, the pre- to post-deployment stages in the United Nations peacekeeping cycle is an important component of the Action for Peacekeeping Plus principles. Many peacekeepers from police-contributing countries may have completed several tours of peacekeeping missions in usually difficult and ever more complex and fluid terrains. Therefore, their preparations before their duty tours and post-operations debriefing, top-up training, and skills enhancements have become even more essential to the success of an overall peacekeeping mission. As has been emphasized by previous speakers, United Nations police are critical components to the implementation of the Action for Peacekeeping Plus priorities. Mr. President, I want to highlight three key interlinking points. The first is that peacekeeping has a democratizing effect on the security sector in host communities and troop-contributing countries themselves. And this must be taken into account the need for a political process that is inclusive and sensitive to local dynamics. Secondly, peacekeeping strengthens legitimacy and effectiveness of domestic security relations among the various entities of the security sector in the country. Thirdly, the mutually reinforcing benefits of police in peacekeeping to the women, peace, and security agenda in the peacekeeping theater and at the domestic level in member states. These 3 points highlight a number of the Action for Peacekeeping priorities, which are strategic and operational integration, which is enhancing strategic and operational integration to achieve unity of purpose for greater impact. Second is on capabilities and mindsets, that peacekeeping missions must have the right capabilities and mindset for mandate implementation. The third is innovation, and if I may add, adaptive peacekeeping that is flexible, responsive, and sensitive to the operational environment. The fourth is the cross-cutting theme of women, peace, and security in ensuring a positive multiplying effect on women's full, equal, and meaningful participation in peace and political processes. The fifth point that I highlight is on accountability of peacekeepers, as well as the strategic and operational integration. Mr. President, on the issue of the democratizing effect of peacekeeping on the security sector, there are several police-contributing countries that are relatively young democracies with complex histories, several of whom are on positive paths to democratization. Others are grappling with their own internal security challenges. Therefore, in their deployment to peacekeeping missions, these countries are on a mission to provide support to other countries in distress, improve their own capacities, and support host countries in their quest also for peace and security. This results in a mutually beneficial relationship between the UNPOL in the peacekeeping theater as well as upon their return home. In striving to achieve the highest standards of the peacekeeping mission, police peacekeepers sometimes engage in tasks that they may ordinarily not perform in their own countries, such as establishing and maintaining strong partnerships with local civil society and women's networks, regularly interacting with fragile people and local communities to achieve unity of purpose and for greater impact. The performance of these tasks and the high standards that peacekeepers are expected to maintain ensures that peacekeepers become accountable. The domino effect of this practical learning experience is that norm diffusion occurs, in which international institutional norms and standards which are practiced during peacekeeping operations are then transposed formally and organically in the police services of the contributing countries. In studies conducted using the Ghana Police Service as a case study, former peacekeepers testify to how robust peacekeeping standards have positive effects on domestic performance and the discharge of their duties. Mr. President, Excellencies, on strengthening legitimacy of domestic security relations through peacekeeping, it has been established that in peacekeeping missions, enhancing strategic and operational integration is essential to achieving unity of purpose for greater impact. UNPOL's contribution to this objective is critical, as they are the entity that has regular and direct interaction with host communities, be they as police, be they as individual police, or as formed police units. Additionally, maintaining operational effectiveness requires strong inter-unit cohesion and collaboration with other actors in the peacekeeping theater, as well as the host community. This has also led to strong domestic security relations at the troop contributing country level, as personnel interact with several actors from diverse backgrounds in the peacekeeping mission. Ghana typifies this phenomenon. It has engaged in several peacekeeping missions over several years, and its police officers have been deployed to several missions. Through these experiences, it's established the formed police unit, whose first deployment was to South Sudan in 2015. Originally established to deploy to international peacekeeping missions, the FPU unit has increasingly been used for internal operations inside Ghana. Within Ghana, it has been deployed to guard critical national security installations as first responders in local crises across the country and in preventive deployment capacity during public assemblies. This standalone model of the FPU at the local level is an interesting phenomenon that I argue supports the A4 Peace Plus priorities. As a formalized unit within the Ghana Police Service, it has regular training on firearm safety, human rights, crowd control, and protection of civilians and other vulnerable groups. Their constant training has improved their professionalism, both internally in Ghana and at the UN level, where they are regularly honored. For example, in December 2018, 165 officers of the formed police unit who had been deployed to UNMISS in South Sudan were honored. They had been deployed to Bentiu in South Sudan for 1 year and were honored for the critical role they played in giving special protection to vulnerable groups, especially women and children who had been affected by the instability in the country. The experiences of the standing arrangements of the police and their regular use in Ghana law enforcement has ensured that they are operationally ready for deployment, as they are often in mission mode. Mr. President, on ensuring a positive multiplier effect on women's full equal participation in peace and political processes, since the promulgation of Resolution 1325 and other related resolutions on women, peace, and security, the UN has encouraged member states to increase the nomination of women to peacekeeping missions. To reinforce this agenda, countries are often given percentage quotas to troop and police contributing countries. This agenda has dual benefits to the host community, as well as the troop or police contributing country. To meet UN targets, police contributing countries have enhanced their recruitment of females into their police units, resulting in a greater pool of female police officers for international peacekeeping and for domestic purposes. While the figures may still be low and more needs to be done to increase the number of women in UN police, the positive roles played by female police in peacekeeping missions and their influence in host communities is commendable. Female police officers are instrumental in the aftermath of conflict-related sexual violence during disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration processes, the recruitment and training of women into the security services, and in critical cordon and search functions. At the domestic level also, police responses to gender-based violence has improved significantly. Mr. President, in conclusion, UNPOL's contributions to the action for peacekeeping priorities are critical. To improve this contribution, there is a need for innovation, adaptability, operational readiness, strategic and operational integration, and accountability of peacekeepers in missions where fragile states are often the beneficiaries. Yet, it has been established that beyond fragile host countries, police contributing countries have, through innovative strategies, maximized their participation in UN peacekeeping to benefit their own societies and strengthen the legitimacy and effectiveness of domestic security relations. I thank you for your kind attention.